I'm Lucky Loki, let's jump into it. Towers is an upcoming game being made by Dreamlit Studios, a small team of 6 core developers over the past 12 months. Not much is known about Towers yet, but that doesn't mean we can't speculate about what we've seen so far. At the moment, we don't know much about the world or backstory, but luckily the team seems to be active on social media, Discord, Twitter, and Facebook. Links to all three will be in the description below. So let's talk about the world. Very little is known so far about Towers and the world, but it is genuinely beautiful and seems filled with life and interesting places to explore. The Towers world, in my personal opinion, has almost a Breath of the Wild kind of like feel to it. But as for the style of the world, the developers have specifically stated that it's based on Princess Mononoke, a 1997 Japanese animated movie. We can even see a very similar glider to the one used in Breath of the Wild, but the feel of the world is very much Princess Mononoke. The world is whimsical and full of life. We can see many things in the trailer that reference the movie, such as the look of the player characters in the trailer, as well as the very last part of the trailer. There seems to be an almost bear-like creature with tree branch antlers, and as he walks, the life around him starts to grow and flourish, even in the Deadlands. Something else the devs have talked about, not in depth, but very little, is taming and building. Now, clearly we can see building in the trailer and tamed animals, but they said the taming system might be something similar to ARK or something akin to it. While we're not sure yet what it will be like, there is clearly taming, at least for the smaller creatures in the game. But at one point in the trailer, you can also see a caravan that the player seems to be riding and defending from a pack of creatures. And I can speculate on different things such as crafting. It seems as though the players will be able to create things like fires and more than likely gather crafting materials from the world around them. So I'm fairly sure that will be a big part of the game as well. The structures, however, don't seem to be something that the player can detail to any extent, but more or less are just constructed and they will raise from the ground as you add material to them, or maybe they will build over time once you've acquired the materials to place it. I'm sure we'll learn more about that in the future. Regardless, the structures are beautiful in-game, making the world feel genuinely alive and flourishing as you build more and more. Another thing I want to speculate about is, as you build and plant things in the world, it seems that creatures will migrate towards you. They will be drawn to the structures and the plants that you place. In part of the trailer, we can see 3 players planting things, not sure what exactly, but as they do, you can see over time life returns to the desolated land, and animals start to come back as well. As for traversing the world, we've seen that the players have a few different options, such as being able to climb or use the glider. Not really much to say about that, but it does seem incredibly useful for getting on top of large creatures. Climbing large animals honestly reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus, which is very appealing. And if the developers are taking a page out of Breath of the Wild's book, then I agree 100% that this is the right way to go. Not just because of the options for exploration, but it also forced the developers to think in more of a 3D type of landscape, meaning that they'll have to develop below and above in every type of terrain, which I think is very beneficial for the game. As for combat in the game, we have seen a few weapons, such as the sword, shield, and bow. In a few different parts of the trailer, we can see these weapons being used against the kind of half-mechanical, half-biological creatures. As for the creatures, I really don't know much about them, and for the weapons, I haven't seen anything other than that, except for a variation of the bow that can be used for fishing. As far as material gathering, we see the somewhat traditional at this point hatchet and pickaxe for gathering wood and stone. I'm not sure if there will be other tools in the game, but I would assume that there will be. Oh, and did I mention gardening? Yes, gardening is definitely confirmed for this game, as they show it very directly in the trailer. Let's move on to creatures. Towers seems to have a very vast and diverse group of creatures in the world. We can see them through every aspect of the trailer. And the developers have confirmed that a very big part of the game will be taming. While it's still unclear whether or not you'll be able to tame all the creatures in the game, we don't know, but we for sure have seen a few, such as the donkey-like creature you can see the player riding through parts of the trailer and sitting with them at the campfire. Another one would be in the caravan, where the player is seen firing his bow to defend it. We're not sure if these are just going to be something that will follow you, or if you can ride them, or maybe even ARK, like where you can build structures on their back. Part of me thinks that not all the creatures in the game are going to be tameable, but I would really like to tame some of the bigger ones in the game, because I think it would be really cool to see their purpose and their use later in the game, such as harvesting, or maybe they could help carry resources. Or maybe your tames could even help you defend. Because I don't know about you, but those big, tall, robot biological creature things look pretty intimidating, and having some muscle on your side might not be a bad thing. But it does seem like there will be a lot of ways to interact with the wildlife in the game. In one part of the trailer, we can actually see a player swimming through the water, being swarmed by what seem like leeches. The player character can be seen raising his hand, at that point which a bright blue flash comes from it and scares away all of the fish that were chasing him. In another part of the trailer, we can see a player resting his hand on the front of a creature's head, presumably part of the taming process, but I'm not sure. But it's these kind of interactions with the world around you that makes it feel so alive and vibrant and brings the game to life. Before I end the video, I just want to finish by saying that this game is definitely a multiplayer game, but the focus does not seem to be so much on combat or PvP with other players. It seems to be more of a base defense game. You and a group of friends get together and you build your base and then defend it, because as we can see at the end of the trailer, those things, those evil-looking creatures, are clearly coming for you, and they seem to desiccate the land as they go. And with all the survival games out nowadays that are heavily focused on PvP, this seems quite refreshing to have you and your friends just kind of relax and enjoy the world around you and interact with it, and then work together to defend your home from the enemy. There's so much more to get into in this trailer, but I'm afraid I don't have time. It's getting kinda late. But I thank you all very much for watching, and if you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, week, and year, and I will see you next time.